right. Welcome to the Raw Egg Podcast, the only show on the internet where the American dream is still alive and well. So this episode is going to be a little bit difficult to record. I only got one hand. Now you pervs. No, the other one is in the under the table. I got an injury going, but that's besides the point. I got today with me. I have my beautiful, amazing wife, Josie.
Hello, everyone.
And on top of that, I also have the muscles extraordinaire, Mr. Eli. How are we doing today, sir?
Yo.
All right. So we're just going to get a little ear rape right off the bat. I can appreciate that. So with that being said, all right. Are you guys ready to learn some information with a fun fact of the day?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Did you know that peanut butter was invented in 1895?
Wow.
Okay. Now, hold up. Wait. The first PB&J was invented in 1901. Now, they didn't use some grape spread or something like that. It was actually cran apple jelly. Okay.
Cran apple.
Cran apple. Now you're asking, why is that important? It isn't, but it is, because you know what? You will find out later in the podcast as to what that is so important about. You gotta stay tuned to figure out the rest of this fun fact that has to do with the PB&J. All right, but today we're talking about immigration, and on top of that, we are also talking about the American dream, American culture, what it means to be an American, and all that good jazz. So let's get right into it. Now I'm going to ask both of my panelists what they believe American culture is. What is American culture to you, Mr. Eli?
American culture, I think, if we go back maybe 50 years, it's quite a bit different. Today, it seems to be a culture of excess, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I do enjoy the American culture of the past, obviously, minus a lot of the issues that were there. They're present in every nation in the world, went through very similar issues. So don't come at me with that. There were some very, very, very deep values that made our country so much different and so much better than every other nation on earth, namely freedom and the belief that liberty is sacred. That is what American culture is founded on, in my opinion.
I'd agree with a lot of that statement. Before I put out my opinion, Josie, what would you say American culture is? What does American culture mean to you?
I think a lot like Eli said, about more so I identify with the American culture of the past, being a lot of, freedom, your inalienable rights, just the whole American dream type of thing where you can come here and, have a family, get a job, be successful, all of these things that basically just freedom entails and gives you when you live in the United States.
That's pretty fair. Now, I agree with a lot with both of the sentiments of what you guys are both saying. The reason why I disagree is because you guys talk about American culture of the past. You see that right there, that's the psyop. That's the thing they want you to think, the American culture of the past. No, that is still the same culture. Our culture hasn't changed. What the revolution, right? Revolutionary War is the big part of our culture. What got us to this point to begin with. That's not the past. Yeah, it happened in the past, but that still is who we are as a people, of a people who rebelled against a tyrannical government in order to create and found this new nation. And this is the same type of driving factors that has gotten us to the moon, that has gotten us to create the internet, has, most of the innovations that have created the modern world. That's still American culture, even still to this day. I guess we can talk that Elon Musk, he's South African. So, it doesn't count, it's not Americans Tesla shot into the space, but either way, he's doing it in America. So I think that says a lot about American culture, right? Like I said, I don't think it is of the past. I think it is definitely an idea that a lot of these radical groups want you to believe, is that American culture is dead. It doesn't exist. It's not alive anymore, and that is a very pervasive and dangerous ideology within today's culture, for sure.
Yeah, you and I even had this conversation where I told you when I was younger, I was in a way upset that I wasn't some other ethnicity because I felt that I didn't have a culture and that I was missing out on different things that I saw other cultures having. And as I've gotten older, I've seen, like what our culture actually is and embracing that instead of wishing I had a different one.
Okay. You have anything to say there, Eli?
Yeah, so bringing ethnicity into it, I mean, it's that opens up a whole can of worms. I think that I do believe that European culture definitely had a major influence in a lot of the events in America's past and what's going on today. So that's definitely a piece of it. But there are definitely quite a few things that set us apart from European culture, especially today. I would like to just quickly touch on the fact that we are obviously a lot different than European nations, and just the way that things turned out the way that they did. I think that America looks more like Europe did many years ago, but it still looks that way now. As far as capitalism and free market ideology, those things have definitely held strong in America for a lot longer and seem to be maintaining fairly well, even with the changing global, political climate. So I think that is very interesting. We definitely deviated from our roots in that sense.
100%. Yeah, like from where we actually come from, oh, it's very different. Like my whole thing, it's like I'll rant about the British all day. They're like, there is like nothing more than a people group that, like, you have the quote royal family, right? That is like one of my favorite sayings. It's like, okay, why? What do these people do other than they're all related because they're having incestuous sleepy fun time with each other, other other than that, like, what is the royal family? I mean, my favorite part is like they're not even royal. It's like they're mascots, right? So it's like the like Queen Elizabeth, right? So the only power she has is like she doesn't need a passport because a passport is through the Queen's signature. She is her signature, so she doesn't. But other than that, it's just like they don't do anything. The taxpayers paid like 80 grand on a cake for a wedding for the royal family. Get out of here! Like,
well, I do have to disagree with you. They do something. The Queen, particularly. I mean, she can move in any direction on a checkered floor. That's not something that all British people can do.
That is true. Lots of games of chess are won and lost with the queen. Well, I mean, technically still with the king, because even though the queen,
if you lose your queen, your chances of winning have gone down significantly.
That's really true. But that's a sidebar. That's a side conversation. Story time.
Chess podcast coming up next.
Chess podcast. What was it? My favorite meme, and it's like, yeah, check out this move. This move is called the come gambit.
What?
It's chess memes. I don't know. You'd have to see it. It's like I'm on weird sections of definitely not Reddit, 4chan all the way, baby.
Oh, jeez.
But all right, so here's a little sidebar in the story, right? So I'm down here in Virginia, right? I in my life never went to DC. I have never went to DC. First time I went to DC last weekend. Okay. So we're down in DC and we're looking at all the things around the Capitol. Haven't done the Smithsonian yet. We're going to get into that. But we're out there looking at the war memorials. Okay. We look at the Vietnam one, very somber, very sad. Get into that at a later point. Not willing to get into that. Lots of high emotions, Gulf of Tonkin, wasted lives, all that stuff. But then we go to the World War II memorial. Okay. Have you ever went there?
I have not. No.
Okay, so the best way I can describe it, I was talking to Denver about it. The best way I can describe it, right? It's kind of like a World War II splash pad.
Splash pad. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, not, but like, so there's like fountains, and then there's like a pool of water, right? And so like the rules are, you can put your feet in the edge of the water. You cannot play in the water. It straight up says that, and a bunch of signs that say, hey, can't do that. Can't do that. This is a memorial. This is about our soldiers. It's not a splash pad. Don't be going and doing in the water. Can you take a guess what I see?
Bunch of people in the water.
Bunch of people playing in the water, bunch of races, different ethnicities. It doesn't, that's not the point. That's not the point. The point with that, it's like, that is just like, it's just pinnacle of one. It's like a lot of people do not fucking care. They don't. And it is so frustrating. And especially like World War II, and it has like all the things from D-Day and talking about the men who lost their lives. Like, I think it was like 80 to 90% of all the men who fought at D-Day died. Right. And this is like what this is about. And all these people can't read a sign, you know, respecting the soldiers and the lives that they put on the line for what we have today. That's American culture right there. And as where this ties into immigration is like when we have all this, the whole idea of the melting pot doesn't exist. You know, such thing as a melting pot, because it's kind of like there's no actual mixing of culture. It all just ends up, everyone does their own different culture in different areas. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. I see it.
As I've said to my dad, we just have a bunch of things in a pot that are not mixed together.
Yeah. It's like, you know, deconstructed food is so popular now for no reason. It reminds me of modern art. It just makes no sense, and a 3-year-old can do it. But that's pretty much America today. It's everything is it's like a deconstructed plate of food with everyone sticking to their own little corner. And I think that specifically in city centers, you see some mixing going on as far as business and commerce, but you don't see that for the majority of people. I think that the way that media sort of plays on these things today is it's just so one-sided. It's looking at things through such a narrow lens, and it's simply just not how things work out. Depending on where you live, I mean, it's so easy to look at the population statistics and see what ethnicities are where. And it's not even about ethnicity. It's just about how long have people been in America, and what have they been exposed to in America, and how much do they respect America? Why are they actually here in the first place? And I think that in the past, you know, with Ellis Island, there was a major reason that people came here, and it was not just for the easy life. It was because of the opportunity. Opportunity is huge, and it wasn't just to kind of freeload. And I'm sorry, but you do see quite a bit of that today, as far as folks coming over and then immediately voting to socialize the government, which is kind of why they left their own country in the first place. Maybe they know no other way, but one thing is for certain: they do not respect, certain people do not respect American culture the way that they should. Obviously, I'm not trying to make too broad statements here, but there are certain people within certain cultures that seem to be, maybe they're the loud minority, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing in certain areas.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that a lot of it comes down to is like, because you bring up Ellis Island, because it's not like it used to be at all. Because at least if you came over here, you had to prove that you weren't going to be a public charge. You know what I mean? So you had to prove that you were actually going to be able to provide for yourself, that you weren't going to become a burden upon the taxpayer, that you were going to be able to take care of yourself. And that isn't the same case here, where you actually have immigrants pulling out more in welfare system on a higher percentage. I'm not talking about dollar amount, people get that twisted, but the per percentage that immigrant households take out get public funding and public help more often. So that's kind of an issue. And, you know, that's kind of, it's almost like you have a people that come over here and they take your resources. It's almost like you're being conquered from within in a kind of a way. You know what I mean? Because because the people who came over from Ellis Island, they at least respect the culture because they got it. Because they understood what they were doing. They knew that they weren't getting anything out of it other than opportunity, you know. Definitely sees a big difference. And this definitely goes into, again, why we talk about how immigration affects the American culture, because of the fact that people don't actually they don't want to get rid of their own culture. That's like, you know, it might sound shitty, but it's like, if you're coming over to another place because you love this place so much, that is your home. you're not bringing home. If you want home, stay home. I don't understand
Right.
this concept. It's like, oh, I need to go somewhere else and bring it. No, you want to come here because it's the best country in the world. So why are you trying to bring whatever? I don't care where it's from, even if it's like Britain. Go to hell. The
Yeah.
Brits to bring their gun laws. I don't want that.
It makes no sense. I mean, it's like, okay, I really want to go live in India. So I'm going to go to live in India and immediately open a burger joint because that's so ingrained in how I grew up. Love to eat burgers. So let's feed the Indians beef. And of course they're going to be upset about that. Are you kidding? And if they were upset, it wouldn't be an issue. The media wouldn't pick it up and say, "Oh, look at these bigots. Look at these bigots that are just so upset about the new burger joint. They're all bigots." It's not even close. It makes no sense.
Right. No one is assimilating or even trying to at this point.
Oh, I didn't know if you were going further, but
No.
but that's a fair point. But on top of that, there also is a lot of different harms that immigration has on just the country, not just culture, but also, economically. That's a big problem. Everyone talks about how immigration helps the GDP, the GDP. I don't care. I don't care. I'm tired of trying to live this fantasy economics where we need to keep bringing people over to feed a dying system that's unsustainable. You're just prolonging the inevitable. You need to get clean, dude. Rehab's gonna suck, but you gotta get clean. That's the way that it works. Number one, inflation. I've had guys argue with me that they tell me it's like, oh yeah, immigrants are having like no impact on inflation, and said that government spending has nothing to do with inflation. What are you talking about? The whole point and cause of inflation is over government spending. What causes increased government spending? Increased amount of uses on the roads. We need you got more welfare systems. You got more people going to colleges. You got more people going to hospitals. All these different types of things. That is going to increase government spending. When you have a third of the population, or someone that's going to get mad, it's not a third, it's 26%. Whatever, like when you take into account immigrants and then their family, they make up basically a third of the population. That's going to have a pretty big impact on government spending, which will cause inflation. Am I saying that they're responsible for 10%, the inflation we got going on right now, a whole 10% annually? No, it's definitely a part. I think to say otherwise is just disingenuous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I mean when especially there's such a rapid influx, the way that we see it today. I mean, just going back quickly to Ellis Island, the documentation was insane. It was next level. They knew exactly who was coming over here from where, what were they doing before, how did they get to this place, what do they plan to do while they're here. And now we're having this massive influx of completely undocumented immigrants. That's going to have a major impact on the supply and demand curve, because there are people coming over that, I mean, they're not documented, they're not paying taxes, a lot of them. So how is this exactly going to help us? It puts a huge burden on the people who are here and are documented and did things properly. And it's just got some pretty self-explanatory ramifications.
Yeah, no, and that is for sure. And it's like, you want to talk about a burden. I got one right here for you. Lower wages. This gets argued all the time, and I had this guy arguing with me, telling me, "Oh no, they don't decrease the wages." Oh, really, they don't. Okay, so immigrants on average take 12% lower pay. 12% lower pay, and you're telling me that if a third of the population is willing to take a 12% less, that doesn't change the whole supply and demand curve. When you have such a large swath of the population that's willing to take so much less, that will most definitely affect everybody else. Big thing on top of that, the exact number back in 1970, because this is where a lot of the information starts with immigration, because of the fact that in I think it was 65, the Hart-Celler Act was signed. Are you familiar with that?
Go ahead and remind me.
So the Hart-Celler Act, for like very like basic simplification, it just got rid of quotas where it's like there was no more like you can only have like 1,000 immigrants a year or from whatever country. It was just, it got rid of that. Okay. So a lot of this data is starting in 1970. Okay. That is what like how they base immigration, because it kind of because you're not going to get the immediate effect over that, because then there was a giant boom either way. In 1970, right? The median that, again, a lot of people use averages inside of stuff, which is bad math, bad statistics. Excuse the data. If you have someone making like $500 billion, it's going to shoot the average income a lot. It makes a difference. The median income was, for all intents and purposes, around $10,000 a year. Adjusting for inflation, that was at it was at $65,000. Household income, not individual salary. Household income was 65,000. Are you following?
I am, yes.
Okay. All right. Right now, the average median household income is the same. You don't have to adjust for inflation. It's the same. So over 50 years of mass immigration, nothing's changed at all. And they say, it's not their fault for inflation. One, we've already talked. It doesn't make sense. And on top of that, so if people are willing to take 12% lower wages for 50 years, that makes a massive difference when you're talking about median incomes never changing at all. I mean, why else could you think? Why else would wages not literally move a dime? Also, this is an important fact. Before 1970, around 1970, do you know the average annual increase on income?
Was it in the neighborhood of 10%?
Exactly 10%.
Wow.
Do you know what that is now?
We're lucky to get 2%, and it doesn't even keep up with inflation.
Here's the thing. That's exactly the point. It is 2%, but that's inflation. That's it. So your wages are only increasing because of inflation. That's it. Back then it was 10%, but with 2% inflation, it's still 8%. An 8% annual raise. That's huge. You want to talk about like being able to get ahead, being able to retire and do all these things. Massive. That's massive. And just the whole concept, it's just absolutely just like mind-boggling. But I want to talk about one of I think the grossest stat I have ever heard in my entire life. Are you ready to hear it?
Let's go.
Since 1970, immigration has made up a third of increase of home values.
Wow.
Do you know how much the home prices have gone up since the 1970s?
No clue.
100%. What does that mean? How much has immigration increased the prices of houses?
33%.
And then people wonder why housing is unaffordable. You literally take the median house price, that's all of a sudden an affordable price. All of a sudden an affordable house again, because the median house price is $300,000. You take off $100,000, people can buy houses again, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That is, and that's exactly where it's at. But then okay, so now, and then you also have housing is like one of the greatest builders of generational wealth, correct?
Oh yeah.
So
100%.
That's for the people who have it. Now, what's also fun is, don't you know that I think on average, after 3 generations, most people end up losing everything, or pretty damn close.
I have heard that. Yeah.
So what, are they going to buy in again? How are they going to buy in?
Yeah, it's scary. I do think it's very scary. It sucks. It really sucks talking about all this, because statistics are very important. Obviously, facts are important. Logical data is important. Empirical data is important. But there is a huge a huge amount of our population, about 51%, 52% right now, that would rather lean on emotions to sort of steer the direction with which they are pushing forward in their life. And I completely get it, because we do have more than we need here, in some sense. In certain ways of looking at it, our meals, just our average meal is what, 3 times the size of any other country's a meal. I mean, our serving sizes are ridiculous. It's contributing to obesity. Just all of the garbage that we're producing every single year. There are a lot of issues, and people want to look at that and say, okay, we have too much. We have enough as it is. Why can't we just spread the love? Why can't we spread the love? And these people coming in, a lot of them from countries that, I mean, they're close to refugee status, even if they aren't being targeted by a specific incident that would allow them to take up that status. You can look at just the state of living in the countries that many of these people are coming from, and it'll bring a tear to your eye. And you're like, yeah, they deserve to have a shot at the American dream. They deserve this. And that's why I think people have a hard time talking about this. They have a hard time looking at the actual facts and understanding that the reason that we have excess at all is because of how great our nation is. And if you take away that greatness, not only are you not left with excess, but it tilts completely to the other side of the scale. People won't be able to live the way that they do now. That's going to continue to push people towards socialist policies, because they can't afford to live the way that they desire to live with the specific skill set that they have. Or before they could, before you could get by with substandard skills and still be able to afford a house, that's very quickly becoming not the case. Okay. So because of your big hearts, I'm sorry, but you just kind of sold out our future's opportunity for greatness. You can say that it was squandered all you want, you know, that past generations completely squandered America's potential, and that there's a reason that we are in the state that we're in today, that many mistakes were made. And that's all true. But now you've taken away any opportunity to fix those mistakes and build upon those mistakes, to learn from them. And we're just going to go backward.
Yeah, and it's like, and this is the whole principle that also I wanted to talk to, and this was somewhere I was going to get later in the podcast, so I won't touch on it too much. But actually, no, we can do it here. It'll be fine. I don't blame the immigrants in any sense. I don't. It's not their fault. I understand that they want to do better for themselves. They want to do better. They want to provide for their family. If you're able to take a risk to be able to do whatever you can for your family, I mean, that's commendable. I understand. Who I blame is the politicians. That's why I blame, because what they're doing is taking advantage of these people, you know. And this is actually a really good segue into what I want to talk about on how they're actually being taken advantage of, and why political elites actually love immigration, because of how they can take advantage of these people. That's all they're doing. They're taking advantage of these people to get their political power. Number one, destruction of American culture. They love that. We destroy the culture that allows them to write in socialism, to be able to have these policies, these big government policies, where it's all trust big daddy government, UBIs, all that different types of stuff. Yeah, they love it. Get rid of guns, get rid of free speech, create hate speech laws. They love that. They love lower wages. They do. I mean, a lot of these are big political interests that are like lobbied for by big business. Oh yeah, big business loves low wages, and everyone wants to talk about like this whole everything to do with the oil right now. We don't have to get into too much aspect, but I mean, if you look at a lot of these people, it's like, oh yeah, but look at how much money they're making in profits. Yeah, that's what happens when you have the wages so suppressed that they don't have to pay people, because they don't. They're able to get away with it. When people are willing to take such a pay cut, you have no choice but to work at those lower end wages. You have no choice. All right. On top of that, making it harder to own a home. Why is that? BlackRock. Are you familiar with BlackRock?
Oh yeah, they own quite a few homes.
Yeah. And that's what they're
Quite a
doing is they're
few.
buying up residential houses for pennies on the dollar. And that's the whole point. So they can then drive them up even further. So if you already taken into consideration BlackRock skyrocketing, right, skyrocketing the prices, then you also have people coming in here, which increases the house prices by 30%. Dude, it's like you won't be able to get ahead. You can't. And then what that does is, and again, that allows these political elites to live their high life. Dude, last night we went to a restaurant. We didn't pay for it. Good on brother Ricky. Thank you. That salmon was divine. The cheapest plate, ready? $23.
Wow.
I'd say average was probably around 40 to 50.
Wow.
That's like right outside of DC, dude. This is their high life. I mean, $300 a bottle. And I mean, I don't even think that we're even at the highest upper echelons of the restaurants either. You know what I mean? So they're living on their stuff. I mean, how many politicians do you have that have been career politicians but are multi-millionaires? How'd you do that?
How did you do that with a $30,000 salary, sir? How
There's
did that
no-
happen?
There's no way. No, there's no way, man. There's no way they're taking money from lobbyists. It's not happening. They want to do it. America, we're all clean. There's no dirty actions going on at all.
Very upstanding.
Very. Oh, there you are.
I'm back.
Oh, you are. Well, what do you have to say?
I mean, yeah, a lot of these things are really important. I think that kind of touching back on a few things that both of you have said is that it's a very logical topic. There's a big logical way to look at it, but there's also an emotional side to it. I mean, we see these families with moms and their kids, and they're just trying to feed their kids. Like I understand that, and it's a hard line to walk because you want to protect your country and you want to secure your oxygen mask before you help others, but at the same time we see all of these families that just need a hand, and it's really easy to just bend over and give them what you have and be able to offer all of these things. But I think there's a big need to secure our own country right now and get ourselves a little bit more stable economically before we continue to just bust people in.
Especially now. Like, I don't understand this logic where it's like, I posted something like, look, we need to close the borders. We can't do this right now.
Well, it's unsustainable. I mean, at the rate that it's happening, we're going to run out of land. Like that's the truth of it. It's like, we're going to run out of resources before long. And then what do we do for, families that have been here for generations and that they can no longer take care of their kids and their family and all of these things? I mean, what are we supposed to do? Just all flee to a different country? I mean,
no,
I don't think Mexico or Canada really wants us.
No, this is it right here. This is the final stand. This is where we have to stand and we have to keep good. And it's like, and again, and it's not even before long. And that's the problem. There's a problem that a lot of people don't understand because they don't pay attention to the news. What's going on right now? What do we got? We got baby food shortages. Okay, so let's bring more people in. During that, that's a good idea. Let's add more people to the mix. Farmers are expecting crop yields to be 50% lower due to lack of fertilizers. Why do we want to bring in more people to that? Like, if you think everything's so bad, if you think that like everything's going to hell in a handbasket, everything's on fire, why are you trying to bring more people into the fire?
It's like that meme of the dog where he's looking out the window and everything's on fire. It's like, just add a little comment bubble to that says, come on in, That actually sounds like a pretty good meme.
That's like an interesting party right there. You know what I mean? It's just like it's kind of like Panic at the Disco, but like, I don't know how to actually make a good joke out of this, so we're just going to ignore it.
When he thought he was going somewhere, but then lost his train of
no,
thought.
I did. Yeah. And so here's like one thing where I thought about this last night. Do you know when Social Security is supposed to run out?
No.
I think it's 2037.
Okay.
Okay, here's why it's important. It was never sustainable. Never. The only reason it got paid for is because people had kids. People had kids, they paid Social
Yep.
Security so the older generations can retire. What's not happening right now?
Having
Nobody's
kids.
having kids.
We're under
People are
replacement.
eliminating their children inside of the womb instead.
So what are they doing? Where are they getting the money to pay for Social Security?
They aren't.
They're importing it. It's a fucking scam. And I did the harsh language. No, you have to understand how bullshit that is. You are bringing the people in, selling them a false promise to fucking rob them because you have made inefficient policies that cannot be paid for. So you are going to outsource that. I mean, what's more the American way, current American way? I'm not talking about American culture, but I'm talking about that, open you in open arms and then we're going to put a knife in your back. Like, I don't understand I don't know what could be more infuriating than that. And it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, why even bring these people over? It's because I feel bad for them that they're being robbed and they don't even realize it most of the time. They think they're coming for opportunity because that's why they're sold. And then we frisk their pockets. Now that's stop and frisk right there.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. I really love how the left has been able to just spin things so well. This is the right's fault, and everything is the right's fault. We're horrible human beings for wanting to go ahead and stem the flow of the masses of people coming over here to take advantage of an opportunity that isn't real. This is incredible how they've spun this. And it's very interesting to me because to me, it seems like there's no way back. To me, it seems dangerous to even have the conversation that we're having right now. That's scary. That's going to have a trickle down effect for sure. There's no chance that 50 years from now, let's say that, I mean, when you read history books, right, and you see what you see, the government is always the bad guy. There's always racism, there's always sexism. There's something going on that's pinning one person against another. And there's always that knife in the back. Every single time you open up the history book, there is a knife in someone's back. And that's the right's fault.
It is because we didn't do anything. Well, and it's the Republicans, not conservatives. Everyone argues almost no one's a conservative anymore, or at least not very few. That's coming back though. That is 100% coming back. And I know that we're taking a lot of the black pill right now. I know it seems really bad, but we will come down and we will talk about the American excellence, where we're going from here, how we will accomplish this, because we have to, because we can't keep going on these tired Republican talking points where they talk about the same thing over and over and over, and it's like, who cares? We've heard it all. We don't care. We don't, because you're not selling us anything. You're not doing anything. If we had control of the Senate, of the House, and of the presidency, what did we do? Fuck all. Nothing. And then right now, yeah, but what was it? You have a bunch of gun legislation that's inside of the Senate right now, and then a bunch of Republicans are getting ready to cuck on and allow. Exactly. So we have to stand up.
It's a joke. It's a
It
joke.
because it's not. It's
Revolutionary War. Oh my God. A Revolutionary War is American culture. That's the American culture. And look at what's going on. I mean, that's as soon as you brought that up earlier, I haven't been able to get this thought out of my head. Like, all right, the American Revolution is what set America apart. It was that First Nation thing, it was the first new nation, the last new nation. And what have we gotten out of this? Because from where I'm sitting, our liberties are seriously being taken away every single day. and Republicans are going to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it like, oh, you better vote for us because otherwise they're going to take away your freedoms. Like, bitch, you haven't done anything to protect our freedoms. So what am I supposed to do?
No, and
What do you want?
It's and again, it sounds bad. It does all sound bad, but no, we actually do have a lot of politicians. Things are getting better where we have actual conservatism, and we are going to talk about like ways that we can go forward from here and steps that we can take to get to where we need to go. And it's not even talking about, oh, we need to deport every single person that isn't white. No, none of that. We don't care. I don't care about your skin color. I care that you're American. I care that you care about the values. I care that you care what we were founded upon. You know, it's like I don't care. And I'm in the people who really see that it's like have this idea of a white ethno state. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's retarded. Like, you know, we need people who care about the country, not about the color of the skin. It's not about the color of the skin. And I'm sure we all agree here. It's not about that. It's about the values. It's about good Christian values. It's about good American values.
That's right.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
100%. It starts in the household, then it leaks out into your neighborhood before it ever makes it to the national stage.
Now, we're getting really dark right here. So we're going to stop getting dark for a minute. We're going to have a fun fact to actually lighten up the mood. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So you remember how I said peanut butter was invented in 1895. Okay. PB&J invented 1901. Ready? You following? Okay.
Yeah, crayon apple.
Crayon apple. Very important.
We were paying
if
attention.
If it wasn't for the crayon apple, it would have been useless. PB&J would have fell off the face of the planet. If it would have been even just cranberry. Did they make cranberry jelly?
They shouldn't. Although I've had crab apple jelly, which
Crab
is
apple. I'm
very
sorry.
good.
I'm sorry. It was crab apple, not crayon apple. I'm spreading misinformation. We're getting ready to get kicked off of Facebook. They're gonna give us a tag. Sorry.
It's like old singular fruit. I thought they were coming up with like this concoction, you know?
No,
like
no, no.
I was kind of impressed. I was like, you know what?
I'm
Cran
sorry.
apple,
I'm
you
sorry.
go, guys.
Okay, now we're talking about an American exceptionalism. Now, I'm sorry, but this right here is anything but exceptional. Are you ready? The hamburger was invented in 1885. Okay. Interesting.
All right.
The first hamburger wasn't actually seen as more of a hamburger, but it was more so actually a meatball between two things of bread. Okay.
That
Now-
sounds pretty
Okay.
good, honestly.
Okay.
Petition to turn all hamburgers into meatball burgers. Meatball. Never mind.
Okay. The first cheeseburger recorded was invented in 1928.
Wow, it took them 50 years to figure that out.
50 years to put cheese on it. Dude, they made PB&J in 6. But it took them 50 years to put cheese on it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's ramped up from there. It has.
Dude,
They got
that
peanut
is-
butter on them boys now.
Oh man.
Ew.
Peanut butter burgers.
I don't think I can get
Those are
behind
fun.
that.
Dude, that is so mind
Have you
blowing.
had one of those, Eli?
Yeah, you need to come to the Social House in Dundee. They got all kinds of burgers.
Oh yeah,
Was
because
it-
that's just a jump and a
Got it?
skip and a hop from here.
Oh,
No, what was it good? This is important here. We need to know.
DoorDash
Was the peanut butter
DoorDash.
burger good?
Heck yeah, it was good. If you like
Yeah,
peanut
yeah.
butter.
Well,
Peanut
I've
butter
seen
is good
some.
on anything.
I've seen people make
Yeah.
like some like peanut butter steaks, but the way if I could find the video again, I'll send it to you. They're putting peanut butter and then they're wiping it off with like a paper towel and a bunch of it starts getting it's
No.
really weird. And it's like, no, but I like his idea of door dashing it. We're gonna do that, we're gonna door dash from Dundee to Virginia, Michigan to Virginia. I'm gonna give him a $2 tip.
It's been done.
My mom has a whole philosophy that any food can either be made better by mustard or by peanut butter.
Or cheese.
That's what I said, but she's pretty steadfast
Yeah,
in
but
her
she also
mustard
didn't
or
like
peanut
she
butter.
didn't like the idea of brown sugar inside of the meatloaf.
Well, that does pretty much
I'm
invalidate
gonna
her
come to
opinion.
Virginia just to have that.
What?
The brown
Brown sugar
sugar
meatloaf?
meatloaf.
My
We already
meatloaf.
had it, dude.
Well, he wants it again.
Remember Bible
I'm
study? You
coming
already
down
had it.
again. I gotta have it. I gotta have it again.
I gotta have
want
it
it- I want more.
again. I gotta have it
I'll
I
make
have
you one.
tasted
I'll
it.
make you one to go back
Again.
home.
Dude, we gotta make a, we're gonna have to make a cookbook, put some stuff in there. And oh, dude,
I love how you say we're gonna make a cookbook when you've cooked for me like three
doesn't
times
matter, doesn't
in the
matter.
total
I
of
have
us
a
being
couple-
together.
I have a couple things on the docket that I don't wanna spoil it. This is gonna come out. We're gonna be coming out with a new product line. Well, new as in the first, but either way, I don't know if it'll be the first, but it's gonna be a product line. We're talking about sauces and stuff like that. But you remember Roy's sauce?
Yeah.
So I recreated it by like random. Not
By
exact, but
mistake?
close enough. And not my mistake.
No, he was
I-
making potions at the Five Guys restaurant.
I knew what I
Oh.
was doing. There was intent. She just they don't.
He
they
looked
don't
like
understand.
a 5-year-old just
Yeah, I
mixing
mean-
things together,
A little-
stirring it with a fry. You know.
Yeah, little ketchup things. I put, I'm not gonna spill the secret on their secret sauce, but I was mixing it all together with the fry, and then there was like, no, it's too soggy. You got to throw that one out. Can't use that one. And it's like, yeah, that one will work. And then it breaks, and it's like, well, no, I get that half. And then I go back to stirring it. It was a whole process. You had to see it. I don't remember what my whole aversion was to Five Guys. I don't know if it was the Five Guys in Ann Arbor, it wasn't that good, or if it was just like the Five Guys actually wasn't as bad as I remember. I don't know. It could have been both.
It was very good though. I think that was probably like record time that I've ever eaten a cheeseburger.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, you didn't savor it.
No, dude.
It was impossible to savor.
No, it was a really good burger. Everything's better down here. Like even the Chick-fil-A. Dude, the owner of the Chick-fil-A down here, right? She's like 24.
Wow. Hey, look at you go. There you go.
I know, that's epic. I was just like, wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. All right, but back to topic. All right. Now, this part is really simple, and again, we've already understood and we've talked about the understanding of immigrants, and so I'm not even want to really touch on that topic too much because we already understand. And again, it's not their fault. It's not like they want to do better for their family, understandably so. Okay, so what I want to talk about again is more so the hypocrisy of the idea of immigration and the
What? Did you? He just Googled fun fact about Muppets.
That's the solution. The
I-
final solution.
Okay, so after some technical difficulties, we are back, and actually to order and to bring in and smoothly transition right back in, we're going to talk about a fun fact about Muppets. We all love Muppets. You ever heard of Muppet necking?
What?
I'm scared to find out.
A Muppet.
You and me both.
So Muppet necking is when someone has a hand puppet, right? And they give you a hand job.
Wow.
So it's like
Oh,
getting a
no.
a blow job from a puppet.
No, please.
But that's
stop.
not the fun fact. That's not the fun fact.
That's a pretty fun fact. I mean,
It's fun, but that wasn't the fact. So,
whoa.
all right, right here. The original Kermit was actually made out of an old coat that once belonged to Jim Henson's mother's, and the eyes were made from ping pong balls. How sweet. That's actually not really, because it's like it sounds really
I
sweet at
think that
first.
would be scary.
No, yeah, because and then you started to kind of think about what was it? Ed Gein, whatever his name was, with Leatherface. Yeah. Yeah. We're making a coat out of mommy now.
Oh my
Like,
word.
cut some people up. This
This has devolved.
has evolved. This is the end of the podcast. This is where things are high energy. This is the best part. This is what you wait for. These are the parts where we talk about the solutions and we talk about things being better. That's why this side's fun. We talk about Muppet necking. Best part. Puppet hand jobs.
My mother's gonna see this.
No, she's not. I'll just ignore it. That's all you got to do.
She left about 40 minutes ago. And
Yeah,
so
100%. She was like, there goes Brian on his anti-Semitic rants again.
Again.
Again. And I was like, well, there goes Thanksgiving again. No, so where we were talking about is where we jumped off last time. It was sitting there talking about the understanding of immigrants, the reason why they want to come over here. It makes sense. They want to help their families and they want to do better and they want to provide, and that makes sense. We don't blame them for that aspect. We don't blame them for wanting to do better. And, it's like I said, we talked about too this. It's like they get taken advantage of by people, and especially by people who, even if they actually listen to their own logic, like again, you are basically putting these people into bad scenarios if that's what you truly believe. Number one, a lot of people, they will sit there and say, a lot of people on the left will say that America is like the worst place on earth. It's so terrible. Your kids are all going to die in school because they're going to get shot up, all that stuff, or you can't get health care, or you don't have college paid for, all that nonsense, blah, blah. So it's like, if you think this country is so bad, why do you want to bring people to it? If you think it's so miserable, why would you want? Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's like their whole aspect. It's kind of like biblical. It's the idea of like a lot of these people. It's like suffering loves company. Kind of like the devil wants you to be into that type of stuff. So when people are suffering, it's like, oh yeah, this sucks. How about you come in? Hey, water's fine. The fire is going to be hotter. Right. But it's like, and again, it's like on that whole topic also too. And people talk about America is racist. So why do you want to bring in people from different countries that speak different languages? Why would you want to do that to them? You know what I mean? It's like putting someone into a weird situation. It's like, hey, Jamal, racially ambiguous name. We are gonna go to a pizza party at a Klan member's house. Like, what? Why? That's not a good idea.
Does seem like you're kind of asking for difficulty.
I don't get it either.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's like,
but I mean, that's just the narrative too, right? That's just what they want to say.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with
For
it.
sure.
Yeah, but and that's like that's a small topic, and it's like that's not even like the big drive of like why I even wanted to do this in the first place. What is because it's like I'm not. I don't hate immigrants, but I'm against immigration. I'm against bringing people in here further. So what do we do? What are solutions? How do we go forward? Because it's like, it doesn't matter if you just sit there and bitch about a problem. You're not doing anything. You're just complaining. What are solutions? What do we do? So we have a lot of people here, 1/3 of our population that are immigrants. Of course, we're not going to say, oh yeah, we're just going to deport them all. Actually,
No.
Well, hold up. No, this is a cool idea. All right. Madagascar, they got some cool turtles and stuff. I mean, it's like a free tropical vacation. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. But no, it's like, so we're not going to deport these people. It doesn't make sense to do that. So we have to deal with what we have now. I think that what we have to do is we have to make this strive to actually assimilate people and to teach American excellence. Teach that again. We need to bring that back, because it's like, why are these people over here? And then also at the same time, we need to tell these people, it's like, look, hey, I understand that you believe that you had a culture that you liked, you guys had some cool foods, all that, you guys had your stuff, but it's like, you came over here for a reason. That'd be like a dick, but you need to drop it. You change.
You need to be an American.
You need to be an American. You need to take everything, not like the part of it's like, yeah, I love being an American, well, but I don't think people should be able to have a gun. Well, I love being an American, freedom and all that, well, but I don't like the things that people say. We can't have that. We can't. We need to foster these ideas of like, look, you came over here because this is the best country on earth. There will never be another country like this. After this country's gone, it's gone. And if they actually do love what this country has to offer, they need to respect it and do everything in their power to save that. We need to become brothers in arms. Let me step back. FBI coming at the door. Don't want that. No arms, not literally. But we need to be brothers connected at the arms. See what I did there?
While keeping the right to bear arms.
Yes, I love my bear arms. They are pretty sweet. I keep them on my mantle. They're epic. One's a polar bear, one's a grizzly, and yeah. So
bear arms. Oh my word.
That added a lot. but no, we need to be fellow countrymen. We need to be brothers, and it's like how we should be. And it's like, it's like the same thing. Like say Civil War, for example. Yeah, you had the Union soldiers sitting there fighting with like previous slaves and stuff like that. And I'm sure like some of them probably didn't like. Some of them were probably racist. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Some of them were but they still knew to fight together. You've worked better as a cohesive unit. You work better. And when you have the same values, you have the same understanding, because it's like at the end of the day, we want the same thing. We do. We want prosperity in a lot of these. And it's like we talk about on this podcast, this one, not so much, religion. We all generally believe in the same God. It's just in a different aspect. Most people are actually like assimilating, coming from these different countries, are Christian. They are. They might be Catholic, but teach your own. But we still do have the same general principles, and that's the thing that we need to understand, and the thing that we need to strive for, and the thing we need to work for is we need to be Americans. It's kind of like I had a shit post I was writing a long time ago. It was my call basically, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the way that I put it, and I don't want to just say it randomly because, the call to ethnically cleanse Americans. Right off the bat, you know how that sounds.
Yeah, it sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, so basically what it is, it's like the call to ethnically cleanse Americans. Basically, the whole concept is I'm tired of this concept. I'm an African American. I'm a Mexican American. I'm a Latino, a Filipino, blah, blah, blah. Asparagus American. I'm tired of it. No.
That's what I want to be.
I want to be an asparagus.
I already claimed it. You can't have it. It's mine.
Whatever. I'm going to patchy attack hella American. But no, I'm tired of that concept. I'm tired of hearing all these different of everybody just saying, oh, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're just an American. That's what you need to understand. That's what we were built upon. If you want to talk about Ellis Island, you think that immigration is all valuable and all this, get rid of it. Cut the fat, get rid of it. You're an American. You're the same people that drove up and that pulled up on World War II on Normandy. You're the same people that crossed the Delaware. You're the same people that ended slavery. You're the same people that went to the moon. So you need to get rid of these old concepts. You do. And it's like, that's the only way forward. And that's the only way I can honestly see forward.
I think going from that too is also the importance of teaching our children that American culture is a thing and what that culture is, and teaching them to be proud of it and how they can continue to like showcase American culture and American exceptionalism.
Yeah,
Any
100%.
thoughts?
It starts with the schools. I think that it's so weird because the people coming up, in high school right now, middle school, we're taught a completely different history than we were taught. That's how fast the change came. I mean, it's completely anti-American in the entire rhetoric now. It is insane. And that is not going to help things. I think that it definitely starts in school. I think that, yeah, we need to talk about the issues in history. We need to talk about our mistakes, but I think that we need to hold off on talking about those things until people are mature enough to understand them in the context that they were in. When you start with these things with fifth graders, 10-year-olds, they don't know. They're just starting life. They don't know how reality is. They don't know what adulthood is. They have no clue. They're just thinking about going home and playing video games. They have no idea what's going on. So then you sit them down in a classroom and you just tell them that their country is awful. Like, why? What are you trying to accomplish with that? It's not helpful. And that's why I think people that come over here now would rather cling to their original beliefs and would rather not assimilate, because they're being actively taught that the country that they just moved into is terrible in every aspect.
Yeah, and a lot of it's a lot of like what you said. All right, so when you say it starts at school, like I understand what you're saying, but a lot of the time it has to start at home. Like we've talked about in a lot of our podcasts with each other, change starts where? Where does change start?
change starts at the home. 100%. I agree with that. But I think that the just bear with me. I mean, the way that we have the school year structured in this country, I mean, where are kids spending a majority of their waking hours every year?
Yeah,
For
and
18 years. Well, a little bit less than that.
and it's like I understand that aspect, and that isn't like lost on me. That's not exactly what I'm saying. It's more so it's like change starts with you. That's where it always comes down to, and that's where it's like because like where I'm trying to wrap up this podcast, and that idea is that we has to stem back to the individual, because the individual makes the culture makes the society, and that's where it has to start, and so like if we say it's like, oh, it's at the schools, it's what Republicans have done for the past 70 years.
That's true.
Oh no, we need to fix this. No, you need to fix you. That's it, because you can't ask for anything else, because it's not going to happen. It's not. So the only thing you can do is be the best you that you can be. You can to follow again through for me, and what's helped a lot, it's like Christ coming to Jesus, going through that aspect. I'm still learning and I'm still trying to do better, but to follow a step, to retreat back and step away, that's where it's got to start. And I think that we can't have a positive path forward 100% if we just keep speaking the truth to power. Yeah, bad things happen. Bad things happen all the times, and America has, it's happened, and they've done terrible things. But at the end of the day, the thing that I love the most about this country is even after all the mess ups, all the bad things that we've done, we still strive to do better. Always. We will always work towards increasing individual freedom. And again, we have all the things going on with the trans movement and all that right now. The Supreme Court eventually is going to side with them. They are going to side with that, with your individual right to be able to do that as adults. They're going to, because that's exactly how our country is. That's why gays were allowed to get married. That's why we got rid of slavery. That's why women were allowed to vote. That's why we got rid of the 3/5 compromise. All that because of what our country was founded upon. It's not like it's some awful concept. No, it's the bad things happened, but the foundation was correct. You can knock out a wall, right, in a house to make a renovation, but you can't knock out a load-bearing wall. The moment you do that, the whole structure comes crumbling down. We're knocking out those bad, rotted, decaying walls. And what are we doing? We're revamping, we're revitalizing, we're recreating. And that's the message that we have to go for, is that's what America is. That's what American culture is. That's what we value. That's what we strive for, to do better, to become better as a people, to become better as a culture, to become better as a society.
Boom. Mic drop.
100%. 100%. Anyone else have anything to say?
I think you pretty much summed it up pretty
There
well.
we go. With that being said, thank you for listening to the Raw Egg Podcast. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. That helps the channel out a ton. Also, be sure to give me a follow on Twitter at BrianBS2899. BrianBS2899. Also, to be sure to check out my wife's YouTube channel. The link will be inside of the description box. And also, if Instagram, we got a whole new Instagram popping out. Very important, gotta get in all the plugs. If you want to follow me over at Instagram at the.raw.egg at Instagram. Miss Eli, do you have any social medias you want to plug?
Yeah, it's just my first and last name, Elijah_Thurston. That's my Instagram. You can also find me on YouTube at The Book of Eli. And I do plan on coming out with some great content pretty soon. A lot of things related to fitness. So that's a great distraction from doom and gloom. Just get fit, get that summer bod ready. So yeah, check me out there.
All right.
Those endorphins pumping.
Get the endorphins pumping. Yes. And we'll also put those links inside of the description box below. With that being said, have yourself a fantabulous day.